Our fall season over here has been really slow to get started. Our first frost is actually 3 weeks late, but overnight it seems like all the leaves on the trees have started to finally turn color. Today, I'm actually planting more garlic. I planted over 200 cloves a few weeks back, and I still had room to fit some more. So I went ahead and ordered another pound, and I figured I would walk you through the steps on how to plant it today. First thing I do is break up the heads into single cloves. During this time, it is important to inspect each one. You never know what you might find, especially when planting organic garlic. You can see here this was actually some bugs home for a while, and the surrounding cloves are just fine to plant, but you do want to make sure to toss any that may be rotting or have any damage like this. I like to space each clove 4 to 6 inches away from each other before I start planting. You can see here that the cloves I planted a few weeks back have started to sprout, which is perfectly fine. I'm actually excited to have 2 successions of garlic to compare this year, see what the differences are just between a few weeks' time. When I go to plant the garlic, I like to use my dibber tool. This is a really handy tool that makes all types of holes depending on how you use it. I like to make about 1.5 inch to 2 inch hole for my garlic. I take the clove and I make sure the flat base is toward the bottom and the pointy side is facing up toward the top, and I place it about 1 inch into the ground. This is really important to note for hard neck varieties especially. So once I get them into the ground, I add a thin layer of compost. Once the compost is spread out, I then add a thin layer of mulch to help retain moisture. Once the temps drop a little bit more, I will add about 4 to 6 inches high of mulch to help protect the garlic from any harsh conditions over the winter. But for now, this light layer is just going to help keep the ground moist and the garlic happy. With it being such a beautiful day, I decided to go ahead and get some of my fall cleanup done as well and enjoy some of the sunshine. The garden is such a unique thing to care and work on. Through the years, I've really found a passion for this space, and it constantly evolves as I learn and grow with it. Something I found really true over the years is that you don't find your passions. You build upon your interest, and those things you're being drawn toward over time is how passion grows. My first year gardening, I wasn't sure what to think. It brought so many lessons I wasn't ready for, starting off with a spring hailstorm that killed off 90% of what I planted just the day before. When I was finally able to harvest our first crops that first year, that is when I felt the spark. But I didn't feel any type of spark during that 6 months prior. Sometimes things like that happen before a passion is born. I think it's important to remember that you're not always going to feel passionate about something overnight. Now, 5 years deep, I can strongly say that this is one of my passions. You're never going to be the best the first time you try, and that's why many people won't find the things they are passionate about in life. It's a waste of time unless you gain something from it. At least that's how society sees it, and that's how I've seen it in the past and sometimes still do if my mindset isn't right. I think that's why I've gained so much interest in the simple living movement. There's so many things that can be learned and evolved on through the years, and as someone who loves to make things, a garden just seems to go really hand in hand, especially for my love of cooking with fresh ingredients directly from my garden. Nothing else compares. It's a very, very addicting cycle. Speaking of that addicting cycle, hence why there are seed deliveries in my mailbox today. Since the growing season is officially over, my seeds will be left alone for the next few months. I wanted to make sure I got everything completely organized and make sure there wasn't anything else I needed to get ordered before next year. I like to have all my seeds on hand as I plan out the next garden year for many reasons, and that's one reason why I go ahead and get most of my seeds ordered in the fall. If you have any favorite varieties I must know about, I'd love to hear about them from you in the comments below. Every year, I love to add some type of new variety to my garden. Every crop is so unique and has so much to learn from it. This year, I'll be adding some more vertical space for more squashes and pumpkins, and I'm really excited about this honey nut variety of squash I found, since this is actually supposed to be vine borer resistant, and we all know I have a problem with that pest every single summer, as they are known to be pretty common in Kansas. I also grabbed some fun things like broom corn, which I want to attempt to make my own homemade broom next fall. I really get intrigued learning some new crafts like that every single year, and I found this broom corn just very intriguing. I also made sure to get some new flower varieties and medical herbs for tinctures and teas, which is something I also love learning about as well. Getting new seeds can really truly feel like Christmas. And I guess that's a great way to go ahead and get the season to really feel kind of Christmassy. During this off season, I find it necessary for me to daydream about the year to come. I find so much inspiration from the garden that the dead of winter can seem daunting without thinking about the life that can arrive just around the corner, especially now that the days are turning darker. I've also come to realize that preserving my harvest can also be a big help in this. Being able to taste the flavors of summer and knowing all the hard work that went into that is truly rewarding. Funny how things like that always seem to go hand in hand. I like to write down all of the seed varieties I have. That way when I go to start planning my garden, things just come together a lot easier. I always seem to have more seed varieties than what I thought, but through the years I've definitely gotten more practical, only truly growing what I eat or what I find beauty in, which also tends to be a good amount of variety, but that adds a lot of diversity into my garden space. Passion can grow and evolve into things you never imagined, simply if you put in the work necessary. Just like the garden. A small seed can turn into something magical if you just take care of it and take the time to do so. I hope you all the best in the journey to find the things that you're passionate about in this life. I thank you all for watching today, and I will see you all next week. Good night.